This week on Ted Lasso. I hear the sleigh bells ring-a-ling, jing, jingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. All this and more, all on today's.
Yeah, we're watching season 2. Yeah, and we'll make you smile too. Heaven knows we'll try.
Thank you so very much, Matthew Winkler, for that holly jolly theme. People of the internet, welcome to Talkin Ted. I am Mike, I'm your host, and it's the middle of August, which means it's the perfect time for a Ted Lasso Christmas episode. Speaking of the holidays, our episode 1 guest, Julie WHISH, loves Christmas more than anybody else I've ever met. So Julie, can you share with us how you feel about this Ted Lasso Christmas episode?
You know what? I can't.
Fair enough. Let's start the show.
Let's meet our special guest.
Please give a warm welcome to my special guest, Jacob. And Jacob is looking very festive. Hello.
I'm so excited to be here.
Tell the people of the internet a bit about yourself.
So 19 years I've worked in the film industry, mostly with a company called Landed Entertainments, which I started with a few friends back in 2002. We're still going strong. Done a ton of short films, a couple of feature films. I've got a few things in the pipeline that are coming out soon as well.
Jacob is also a humble man. He's not going to say it himself, but he's also a beautiful filmmaker. Check out Street Meat.
First concert, best concert.
A number of different artists, but the only one I remember is SWV.
Oh!
This was at Electric Circus at Canada's Wonderland back in the 90s.
You are the second guest of this show to have their first concert be at Canada's Wonderland.
Best concert would probably have to be Rock the Bells. I don't remember the exact year, but I got to see The Far Side, and I am a huge Far Side fan.
What's up, Fat Lip?
Let's get into the recap.
Before we talk about Ted Lasso, let's talk about Christmas episodes.
I love Christmas episodes. Even in the darkest shows, Christmas episodes are this beacon of light. Did Lost do? I feel like Lost did a Christmas episode. Oh, you know which episode it was?
The fucking Constant.
It was The Constant.
The best episode of Lost. Yeah, that was a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
It's funny because what makes it a Christmas episode is just the scene with Penny.
But that's what a Christmas episode is. It's like that. It's that family element, right? It's you get to spend time with family.
Jacob, I watched this episode twice before our chat today.
Just so everyone knows, we're recording this at 2:49 on Friday, the day that the episode aired.
Because of the high regard I have for this show, I put it up against my favorite Christmas episodes of all time. I'm talking about the Claymation Community episode.
Top notch.
I'm talking about the other Christmas Community episode, the regional holiday music.
Yep, also great.
I'm not sure if you are an American Dad fan. Their Christmas episode that I'm referring to is called Rapture's Delight. Upon watching this episode for the first time, I was thinking to myself, holy crap, this is going to be a wild episode of Talking Ted, because I think this was the first episode of Ted Lasso that I legitimately did not like. And then I watched it a second time.
Yeah, okay.
Mike's first reaction.
Call me an absolute Scrooge as I say this. You presume that a kind-hearted show like Ted Lasso plus Christmas is going to be real nice. It just doubled down on the sweetness, which is what I expected it to do. So my hope is that this episode would actually, surprise us with just how dark a Christmas episode can get while being the most kind-hearted show on TV.
I guess I get your reasoning, but I just don't think that's in the Ted Lasso DNA. You're disappointed that it gave you what you expected.
And then some. This is an episode that started with a claymation.
It's a Christmas episode, Mike.
But it's also a show that has such a strong component of showing off the ugliness of planet Earth. And I feel that that's a part of Ted Lasso, is to have both sides shown and acknowledged, while optimism is still the hero.
So I will say this though. So this is the first episode that dove into Ted's divorce in this season. In this episode, we got a dose of him home alone on the verge of drinking himself into a stupor on Christmas Day, which I'd say is a pretty dark way to spend your Christmas.
Mike's second reaction.
Then I watched it with somebody. So I watched it in a communal setting. I gotta say, it went from me giving this episode maybe like a 5.8 out of 10 to a 7.4. It does a good job doing what
a Christmas episode does.
What a Christmas episode does.
It was exceptionally sentimental, and it got the family stuff right, especially when it comes to the team that's been fractured. Also, that last bit with Phoebe and Roy in front of the bully's house.
Oh, that great reference to Home Alone. Absolutely. We got every single Christmas song ever made in this episode. We have a visit from Santa Claus at the end of this episode. He exists in the Ted Lasso canon.
Santa Claus is canon, and I'm ecstatic about that. And I couldn't think of a better series to make Santa Claus canon within.
Who is the guy from Clone High? The pirate.
Oh my
God! Spices. What was his name?
Oh, Snowflake Jake.
Snowflake Jake. Santa Claus is the Snowflake Jake of the Ted Lasso universe.
That's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
Speaking of, if I may make a Lord Miller reference. A Lord Miller parallel that happened in this episode. It also features Jason Sudeikis, and it's from Last Man on Earth. Oh, you gotta get it now.
I am your worst guest because of this, aren't I?
You're the only one that wore a hat, and that's going against my anti-hat policy, for God's sakes. The moment is when Rebecca and Ted are seeing the buskers for the first time, and they reference once.
I forgot they referenced once in the canon of like Jason Sudeikis.
The Jason Sudeikis loving once cinematic universe. So in addition to the fun we have here recapping the episode of the week, we have a little fun with words.
This is Wordplay, Swordplay. Wordplay, Swordplay.
Last week's guest gives us a riddle, and I have not read this. So Jacob and I, we are going to solve this riddle here, live right in front of you. Jacob, are you ready?
Oh, I'm terrified.
An ornery professor with a penchant for dark magic, popping bottles with champagne poppy, eating a celebratory dessert, adorned in a superhero's getup.
Would you like me to forward this to you so you could read it as well? Okay, so the key here is Drake.
Snape and Drake eating cake in a cape.
Professor Snape drinking with Drake, eating a cake, wearing a cape. I'm gonna say that's 100%, so...
I think we got that one.
Now, Jacob, the last thing we ask all our guests here on Talkin' Ted.
What are you grateful for?
I guess I'm just grateful that we're, seeing the light at the end of this pandemic tunnel. The fact that I'm gonna get to see all my good friends and family again shortly.
A fun fact is the current career that I have right now, I wouldn't have this if it weren't for this guy, Jacob, right here. 3 days after I lost my previous job, and then on Facebook, Jacob just says yo, filmmakers, who wants to work at this company? And I went for it. And I've been working there for 6 years now. Various times over the last 6 years, I feel like I've been the Coach Beard to your lasso, and you've been the beard to my lasso.
Oh, I was gonna say you're. I think you're the Ted Lasso in this situation. Just a beacon of optimism and positivity over here.
There's a lot of things to be optimistic about, and your creations and the light that you bring day to day. So it's an absolute joy being your friend, Jacob.
Oh, right back at you, buddy. I feel like this episode of Talkin' Ted is very similar to the Christmas episode of Ted Lasso. We're just over-indexing on the on the love over here.
Well, it'd be the index and the table of contents and all the pages in between. Let them all be joy.
Thank you for tuning in to Talking Ted. If you have any ideas for future episodes, sound off in the comments. Or, if you know me personally, text me your ideas. I appreciate you.